What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. More specifically, welcome back to the Amped Up Show, Monday, the 29th of September of the year 2025. We got a big show on tap for you today, and I ain't talking no Paul White. BC has all the fallout, all the aftermath, all the backlash from what is being described as the botch heard round the world. This past Friday on SmackDown, triple threat title match for the ladies, Tiffany, Nia, Jade. Referee Asia Smith is finally speaking out on the situation. We'll talk about what she had to say. Jade Cargill adds her 2 cents. And while I like Chelsea Green a lot, not only for her comedy, which she is so good at, but I feel she can rock it out in the ring. She's obviously good on the mic, and I feel she can put a storyline on her back. She takes the risks. She's fun. I like Chelsea Green, but what she had to say about Nia Jax is dumbfoundingly, mind-bogglingly stupid. We'll talk all about it. It's coming up in today's show. Also coming up in today's show, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting to hear my thoughts on John Cena, AJ Styles' Crown Jewel, a match that was booked out of nowhere like an RKO. You best believe BC is going to get amplified on that match concept. BC's going to get amplified on that entire PLE concept, Crown Jewel, because I ain't happy about it, and it's unacceptable. We'll talk all about it coming up. Another talent is speaking out on Hunter Hearst Helmsley and talking how they are, quote, disappointed in the Schnoz Man. We'll talk that as well. And over on the AEW side of things, man, a story that is both funny and also concerning at the same time. Bryan Danielson, the last to find out that he's headed to Dynamite on the commentary team. Yeah, we'll talk all about it, man. It's all coming up. But we definitely have to start the show off with the biggest story coming out of the weekend, and for justified reasons. Again, what is being described as the botch heard round the world. That triple threat title match on SmackDown. The main event, unfortunately, as well. So you talk about leaving a bad taste in everybody's mouth. The show ends with that botch. And this was, of course, Tiffany Stratton covering Nia Jax. Referee counts 1, 2. Nia Jax is down and out. You can count to 250. She ain't getting up. But the referee stops her count at 2, looks at the timekeeper and goes, 2, 2. And the rest of the world is going, what? That's not... What just happened? Referee Asia Smith then turns around with this goofy look on her face, like, just clueless. Because she knows, whoa, that was 3, wasn't it? Nia Jax wakes up out of nowhere. She starts talking to referee Asia Smith. Then Nia just kicks out, but nobody was counting, so everybody panicked. Everybody made a bad situation worse by panicking and just going into left field with a hockey stick. Referee Asia Smith could have done better selling it, right? Once you knew you screwed up, sell it. Go to Tiffany and be like, I apologize, my bad, but you gotta continue on. I can't count her out now. We're still gonna know it's a botch, but at least she played into it. Maybe it would lessen the blow a little bit. And a lot of fans, maybe the younger ones, would think it's part of the show. Oh, wow, that was a wild ending to the match. They had the referee act like she missed a count. But no, instead, referee Asia Smith just turns around and she just has this confused, dumbfounding look. This look. We all screwed up. Nia Jax is kicking out even though when nobody is counting. It was bad every which way you look at it. And we talked about it on the SmackDown review. I don't want to rehash everything we talked about because I was livid in that SmackDown review. For those that caught it, you know. To the thousands that have already caught that review, you know how amplified BC was. And you guys reciprocated that amplification. You felt the same way. That is an unacceptable botch. It's the biggest trick that can never be exposed. The referee can never hold their count. We talked about it on the SmackDown review. Vince McMahon had a rule. You have to count 3 no matter what. I have seen champions lose their titles because they either forgot to kick out or didn't kick out in time, and the referee had to count 3. I've seen champions lose their titles because Vince McMahon was not willing to expose the industry in that way. That's the one trick you cannot expose. The referee has to count when somebody is literally down and out. That's the holy grail of tricks. When the referee stops counting the person that is totally knocked out, there's no more show. It's like going to see a magician and he goes to pull the rabbit out of the hat, right? One of the biggest tricks. But there's nothing in the hat. No rabbit's coming out. He doesn't even know where the rabbit is. Uh-oh. Anybody seen Billy? No, Billy the rabbit is gone. All of a sudden he appears 5 minutes later in the audience. He's going through people's feet, through chairs. People are running, screaming. But when they go home, all the crowd, all the people go home, and the kids ask, Ma, Dad, how was the magic show? What do you think they're going to be talking about? The massive botch. There could be 40, 50, 60 other tricks that went off without a hitch. But they're going to talk about that one massive botch. It's one of the biggest tricks, and it was botched. Well, this is the main event of a title match. An individual is looking up at the lights for the count of what could have been 30, and the referee pulled it. It's massive. So it's justified that that was the talk of the weekend. And we talked, by the way, about how that was Vince's rule. You have to count 3 no matter what. When Hunter Hearst Helmsley took charge, he changed the rule. And he said, no, the finish is the finish no matter what. Which means the referees now have to pull their count. Even if a shoulder isn't up or in time. Or at all, as we have seen many times in the past and this past Friday. But you saw it with Damian Priest and Seth Rollins on a grand stage. I think that was Money in the Bank. It was definitely a PLE. And Damian Priest was looking up at the lights, or he was taking a nap, I should say. Seth had him pinned, and the referee pulled his count because Damian forgot to kick out. And I told you guys back then, I said this is going to be a continuing problem. It's going to get even worse because Helmsley is not pulling that rule. I don't bullshit my audience, and sure enough, Friday happened. Another big stage, another big championship on the line. Same thing as Damian Priest, Seth Rollins. And it's happened, by the way, a dozen other times. Just not grand like a PLE or a title match, but I'm seeing it all the time now. So I don't want to rehash all that. If you caught the SmackDown review, I think I went in plenty on that situation. This is really the fallout of it, right? What are we hearing now 48 hours plus after this show? Well, referee Asia Smith is speaking out. She's actually apologizing. She is saying, I hear you guys. Please know the passion I have for this industry is second to none. Slight paraphrase. But she is trying to tell everybody that she loves this and she is going to continue to get better. So you read it almost like an apology. Like she is taking ownership of this. Now, Jade Cargill put in her 2 cents via a like on social. There was this post where Tiffany said something to the effect of Tiffany was supposed to, well, kind of like she did, right? Jade does the move to Nia and Tiffany steals the cover. Well, that's basically the situation they were in. Tiffany was covering Nia. So Jade liked that. So she's pretty much exonerating herself from the equation because a lot of people were blaming Jade, maybe because of the Jade eye situation, because that was a whole separate botch we'll get to in a minute. Jade only had one eye at the time, so people were thinking maybe Jade was supposed to break it up, but Jade is going, no, Tiffany was supposed to steal that W just like she did. So Jade liked that post. Basically confirming that Tiffany was supposed to pin Nia straight up. So now the only question is, was it supposed to be that botched count? Or was it supposed to be the next move, which was the prettiest moonsault ever? Because if Asia is basically taking ownership and saying, I will continue and strive to get better, I hear you. I love this. Please know that. Was Asia supposed to count 3 the whole time? Was Nia Jax, was she not the biggest part of this botch? And Asia was supposed to hit 3. I still don't see how that's just from a little simplistic low-level missile dropkick. I can't believe that Nia Jax would have been knocked out from Jade beforehand or Tiffany covering her after. I don't see how that would be a winning combination. I still would think that the prettiest moonsault ever would have to be hit. But no matter who's to blame, right? As I went over this on SmackDown's review. At the end of the day, this is Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He's the nucleus of the blame. Because the referees even have to pull their count. The fact that that's a concept, it's Hunter Hearst Helmsley's fault. The fact that referees have to pull their count because Helmsley is telling them to, and to always be cautious of such, this falls on Helmsley first and foremost. Now, when you get to the talent, you can blame Jade Cargill all you want, right? Maybe she was running around with one eye and she was supposed to break it up. Maybe it was Tiffany. Maybe she was off a beat. I don't see how this could be Tiffany's fault at all, but maybe that's your perspective. Maybe you think it was Nia Jax. She was absolutely supposed to kick out. Maybe it's the referee. She was supposed to count 3. Nia's shoulders were supposed to be down. No matter who you want to put the blame on, you cannot be shocked that most fans automatically went to Nia Jax. Because this is somebody whose nickname was the Botch Master. You guys remember the Shock Master back in the day? For years, Nia Jax was the Botch Master. Nobody takes pleasure in saying that. It's sad. It sucks to say that. But there's been so many issues with Nia Jax over the years. Not to mention injuries to so many of the talent, but just straight up botches. Mistakes and muffs that you don't see with most wrestlers. So yeah, it shouldn't be a shock that a lot of fans automatically went to, oh boy, Nia was involved, must have been Nia. Now you hope they do their due diligence, and the proof will be in the pudding, and she'll be exonerated if that's the case. But nobody should be shocked. I mean, that's the reputation of Nia. But it seems like Chelsea Green and former talent Baron Corbin are shocked. What are we talking about? Check this out. So there was this individual on the social doohickey machine. I don't know what platform, but this became a story. Nico, I believe, is this individual's name. Nico says, and I quote, if I'm H times 3, I'm booking Nia Jax every week and having her eat pins until every woman in the entire company has pinned her consecutively. If she doesn't want to do it, show her the damn door. What she did to Jade Cargill was on purpose. Enough is enough already. Now, Nico is referring to a botch before the huge botch. And that's when Nia chucked Jade Cargill into steel steps. Jade Cargill was absolutely busted open. One of her eyes above her eye was just most likely stitches, I'm thinking. I mean, it was that bad. So then in a response to this Nico individual, Baron Corbin, who now goes by Tom Pescock, or Peastock, Tom Peastock. No, that's not Peastock. What is that? Tom Pestock. Tom Pestock, Baron Corbin. He says, dude, shut the fuck up. You have no idea what you are talking about. And then Chelsea Green chimes in. Chelsea Green says, and I quote, the internet not knowing that Nia is one of the best is the biggest travesty. We're lucky to have her as a locker room leader. End quote. Chelsea Green. Yeah, I'll say that again. Chelsea Green says the internet not knowing that Nia is one of the best is the biggest travesty. So, internet, when you think travesties, like you just got a brand new coffee and you spilled it, that's a travesty, right? 9/11, travesty, right? You, yes, you, internet, not knowing that Nia Jax is the best wrestler in the world. That's a travesty. The internet not knowing that Nia is one of the best is the biggest travesty. Oh, my bad. Not just a travesty, the biggest travesty. How about Chelsea? Chelsea, how about the biggest travesty is you thinking Nia is one of the best? Because that could be considered a travesty. I like Chelsea Green. I said this earlier. Not just the comedy. I feel like she's kick ass in the ring. I feel she can put together good matches without the comedy. Storylines on her back. She can rock a mic. I like Chelsea. I think she's putting in some of the best work of her career. This is an absolute horrible take, clearly. Does somebody want to fill Chelsea Green on in the fact that Nia Jax is not one of the best pro wrestlers in the business? In fact, much of the industry would say she's one of the worst. Do you want to know, Chelsea Green, why the internet doesn't look at Nia Jax as one of the best wrestlers on the planet? It's because they have eyes and ears and they're watching the product, unfortunately for them, right? It's not watchable these days, but we're watching it. So by watching the product, we can clearly see that Nia is nowhere near one of the best pro wrestlers in the world. Now, you went on to say, Chelsea, that we're lucky to have her as a locker room leader. So I think that's what's happening, right? Your little personal relationship with Nia and her being your mama backstage, basically, right? She's your leader. Which, by the way, that says a lot in and of itself. The fact that Nia Jax is one of the locker room leaders backstage. If that doesn't tell you the issues in WWE. I mean, this is somebody who was released a few years ago. Do you guys realize that she was released? The word going around the campfire was poor attitude, no progression in talent. Right? This is what we were being told. Attitude issues. There was no progression in her work. And there was just a ton of injuries that were stacking up on the roster. There's an entire list of pro wrestlers that were wrestling Nia Jax and were put on the shelf. Becky Lynch. Broken nose. We all know what happened. She literally turned around because she felt she was swarmed. But that was the whole shtick. You're huge. All the wrestlers are smaller than you, so a bunch of them are going to team up on you. You don't get upset, turn around, and haul off on them. She broke Becky's nose. Bayley, separated shoulder. Wrestling Nia Jax. Charlie Flair. You guys remember there was 2 massive botches in their matchup. I think it was like October 4th, 2017, I believe. Charlie Flair, Nia Jax, and I remember one was like a shoulder breaker, and Charlie almost got dropped on her dome piece. And then there was another big one in that matchup. Charlie almost got wrecked twice. 3 times in that same match. There was a separate matchup where Charlie and Nia got into a real fight in the middle of the ring live on Raw, because both don't like to sell. Nia's in there having a real fist fight. Zelina Vega was injured in a matchup with Nia. Kairi Sane twice. I remember one of the times Kairi was thrown like a rag doll into, was it the steel steps or the corner? Maybe it was just into the corner or the ring post, something like that. But I remember it was bad and Kairi was done. Kairi twice. Ember Moon. Remember when Ember Moon got injured and Ember Moon's husband was pissed at Nia Jax? Ember Moon's husband tweeted out after that match, and I quote, "Hope this unsafe moron doesn't hurt my wife again." End quote. Ember Moon pissed off. Her husband pissed off. And you can keep going. Guys, there's a whole list. Nobody's making it up. We all saw the matches. We saw the injuries. And then Nia Jax, I don't know if this interview was done back in 2021, but it was around that time. Nia was asked about the injuries. And Nia said this, and I quote, "I can tell you this right now. In my career, I know I've injured 2 people. Not all my moves are going to look super clean and smooth and just come out like cherries. but I'm not injuring people. I'm not purposely going out to hurt people, end quote. So can we just break that down? She says that she knows of. I can tell you this right now. In my career, I know I've injured 2 people. That's complete BS because we've watched you injure more than a dozen. So is there like a time, like anything over a month is what she is considering a real injury? Or if they're out for more than the 10-day or 2-week concussion protocol? And anything less than that is not an injury, so it's only down to 2? Or did they just, a lot of these talents, not even talk to Nia afterwards? Pissed off, went to Vince, and Vince is like, just stay separated. But she claims she only injured 2 people. Now, again, this was back, I believe, in 2021, so many years ago, when she said this statement. But even 2 people is too many. You talk to good wrestlers like Bret Hart and let him hear, oh, I've only injured 2 people that I know of. Let people like Bret Hart hear you say, and I quote, not all my moves are going to look super clean and smooth and just come out like cherries, but I'm not purposely going out to hurt people. That doesn't fix anything. You're not purposely going out to hurt. That's great. Nobody said you were. That's pretty douchey. Nobody was saying you're a scumbag going out and hurting people. No, they said it's happening, though. That's why they're saying, do you see this, Chelsea Green? This is why people are saying Nia Jax is not a good wrestler. Too many people have been injured in the ring with her. And her response is, I'm not purposely doing it. And what does she mean? Not all my moves are going to look super clean, smooth, and just come out like cherries. Why not? Why not? When Bret Hart had a match or Shawn Michaels had a match, even The Undertaker, and he's big, most of their shit comes out super smooth, looking like cherries, strawberries, a banana split. Who talks like that as a pro wrestler? I mean, I've only injured a couple people that I know of. I'm not purposely going out to injure people. And by the way, not all my moves are going to look super clean and smooth. And they're not all going to look like cherries, all right? Nia's telling you she's not good. But Chelsea thinks it's a travesty that the internet does not call Nia Jax one of the best wrestlers. And that we should look at her as a locker room leader like they do. The company released her in 2021, I believe, around that area, around that time frame. Maybe that's when she cut that interview after she was released. The company released her. That should tell you a lot. This is somebody related to The Rock. It's gotta take a lot to be released as a cousin of The Rock. I mean, Tamina Snuka basically retired a couple years ago. She's still on the roster collecting a check. Because if you're related to The Rock, you got a job. I also believe that Vince in WWE was indebted to Jimmy Snuka, the father of Tamina. But the point is, you got to really be bad related to The Rock to get Das Boot. Because the sad part is there's too many wrestlers that have been injured on her watch in that ring with her. So can we all agree that, listen, even if and Nia's already admitted that a couple of those were absolutely her fault, but it's more than 2, trust me. But let's just say none of them were. None of them. Then we all would still agree this ain't working out. Because that's not good. If that many coincidences happened with Nia Jax, 13, 14, 15 people got injured with Nia. That's just some bad mojo. Maybe another job is best for all involved. There's no way that that's a coincidence. And I keep going back to Ember Moon's husband when he put that tweet out. I mean, guys, that's going home with Ember Moon. So it goes to show you what a lot of these talents were talking about behind the scenes and with their significant others. Chelsea looks at Nia as a locker room leader. A lot of the talents, when they were all getting injured, were pissed off at Nia. You guys remember the reports. I can't believe Chelsea Green. The internet not knowing that Nia is one of the best is the biggest travesty. We're lucky to have her as a locker room leader. If Nia is one of your best, I'm sure nobody wants to see your worst. And Nia admitting that not all her moves are going to look smooth and clean and come out like cherries, but at least she's not purposely trying to injure anybody. Awesome! That's what you want to hear. Get her in the ring. Book Nia. Her moves are going to be sloppy. That's her words. I mean, I paraphrased it a little bit. That's what she's telling you. Yes, the work is going to look sloppy, but I'm not trying to hurt people. The work is going to look sloppy. Some people are probably going to get injured in the process, but I'm not trying to. And by the way, I'm a locker room leader to some of these gals, so lay off! Listen, to wrap it all up, this is Hunter Hearst Helmsley to blame. No matter what more we find out, was it solely on Asia in the ring? Did Tiffany do something? Was Jade supposed to do something, but she was attending to her eye? After getting tossed into the steps by Nia Jax? Was Nia just supposed to kick out? At the end of the day, it's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It's his fault. That's where all of this lies, squarely on Hunter Hearst Helmsley, because he has a rule where the referee cannot count 3 until the planned finish. And his ego is too big to just reinstitute the Vince McMahon rule. Let the referee count 3. If a talent doesn't have their arm up quick enough or at all, then the referee counts. If they lose a title in the process, they lose a title in the process. But the problem is Hunter Hearst Helmsley is more than okay to expose the business. He doesn't care. He wants to, because he can no longer play superstar in the ring, so he wants to play superstar behind the scenes. That's why you have Unreal the Show starring Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Did you think about, wow, there's a show exposing the business? Why? Because the star of the show is Paul Levesque McMahon. Watch a Raw and a SmackDown. How do the shows end? See, Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley can't wrestle anymore, but every single show ends not with a cliffhanger, but the last thing you see is Paul Levesque McMahon's name. Paul Levesque. Boom. He's producing it. He's supposedly the chief of content, the chief of creative, the head of talent, and all of a sudden, he's a producer! There's only one problem. He's never in the office to do any of this, because he's also the spokesperson and doing the press conferences for Saudi and the commercials for the PLEs and the voiceovers for the shows and the intros. He's doing all the podcasts and the talk shows. He's the star of stars. He doesn't do shit, yet he has 10 different titles. Producer, creator, creative, head of talent. Oh, and by the way, he gets a talent contract. You guys can look right now on the roster page. He's actually a talent on the roster as well. He's not just double dipping, triple dipping. He's borrowing hands to enter cookie jars. Unreal. His name on the credit. We never had. Could you imagine Vince McMahon putting his name at the end of shows? He would not stand that. There is no way Vince would put himself into the Hall of Fame or allow himself to be in the Hall of Fame. There is no way that Vince McMahon would have his name in credits. Vince McMahon would not be a star of a show that is exposing the business. Hunter Hearst Helmsley? He made himself the face of the company when he took over. And exposing the business is the new business. Let's move on. Let's go over to my thoughts on AJ Styles and John Cena at Crown Jewel. This company is asking more, demanding more, taking more money from their audience, their consumer, their fans, and they're giving them less and less. This is something I've said many times over the last several weeks and months. But lately, the greed is becoming outrageous and unacceptable to new heights. Little things to big things. Like how about WrestleMania leaving the US? That's fine. Skipping the UK. John Cena and so many others have been trying to get WrestleMania over there because they have been so damn loyal. So many fans travel to the US every single year to WrestleMania and other events from the UK. Everybody was pretty sure, outside of Canada, obviously, they were in Toronto a few times. But outside of Canada, if they're leaving the US, surely they're going to the UK. No, they skipped it. All of the money, the time, the energy, all the love that the UK showed WWE, all of the equity they put into WWE, all the loyalty they put into WWE, and WWE skipped right over them. They're flying right over. They're going to Saudi instead because Saudi is paying a bigger dime. It's business, BC. It's business. When you lose total loyalty, though, when you're just ruthless with no loyalty, good luck sustaining that business model. Just remember that. It's fine being ruthless, absolutely. There has to be some level of loyalty to the consumer. There has to be some type of relationship that is beneficial to all parties. And that has to be sustained in business. That goes from Coca-Cola to Pepsi, McDonald's to Burger King, Starbucks to Dunkin', Target to Walmart. Doesn't matter the business, doesn't matter the competition. PLEs, these new deals, they want you to have 10 different streaming services. Not just cable anymore. No, you have to have Peacock for NXT events and the library currently. And special Saturday night's main event that will not be on NBC. It'll be on Peacock. So you have to have Peacock. Amazon Prime, they're trying to cut a deal with Amazon Prime. I don't know what type of programming they could possibly have on there. Maybe that is going to be the library next year. Maybe that's where the library will end up, but they're trying to cut a deal with Amazon Prime. So Peacock, Amazon Prime, Netflix for Monday Night Raw, and ESPN for PLEs now. ESPN is charging you $30. It's the old school pay-per-view prices, basically. So you're paying triple what you were because it was $10 on Peacock. $30. And do you know what event you're getting coming up in a few weeks? You're getting Crown Jewel, which is just a bunch of random matches. And don't even think for 1 second that fans or critics are going to look at Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie V and call that a dream match. As somebody who really likes Tiffany's work, she's still new to the roster. Relax before we start shooting out dream matches for Tiffany. Stephanie V is really good. Let's chill before we start talking Steph V dream matches. Stephanie and Tiffany, it'll be a good match, we hope. And that's where the interest stays. Other than that, you have Sethington Rollins and Codithan Rhodes. A match we've seen several times over the last couple, 2-3 years already. John Cena and AJ Styles I saw years ago when they were still in their prime. And they're fighting for rings, right? Seth and Cody are going to battle for a ring. They're going to get a ring, and we're supposed to care? What happened at Crown Jewel? Oh, Cody got a ring. What are we supposed to do? Honestly, what does a card like this, what does this PLE, Crown Jewel, what is it supposed to do for the masses? Like when most fans are watching, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to enjoy the live crowd chanting, "This is awesome," 6, 7, 25 times a match? 219 times in one night. This is awesome. Are we going to get a couple fight forevers? You're going to get, what we're hoping anyway, is some good wrestling. And that's it. Are we going to hope that David Meltzer gives it 5 3/4 stars the next day? What is this about? You're taking more money from the audience and you're giving us less. You're putting in less effort. You make an announcement, hey, we're going to Saudi because we're cutting $1.5 billion deal, or we cut a deal with ESPN where we're going to charge you triple the amount, and our next PLE is not even going to have storylines. We're just going to give you a bunch of random matches. Stephanie's got a title. Tiffany's got a title. There's a match. Cody's got a title. Seth's got a title. Hey, they used to have a story. That'll be the story. We'll put a ring on the line. Now it's a really big story. AJ and John Cena out of nowhere like an RKO, as I said in the cold open teaser. I don't know what this is. I don't even know what this is. You thought Brock Lesnar and John Cena was weird? Weird. We still have no explanation. None. Brock Lesnar rehashed what he did in 2012. Came back at the 2025 SummerSlam. The same way he did the Raw after WrestleMania in 2012. Did the same thing. F5's John Cena walks away. No explanation, no reason. Then a few weeks later, he comes back out. Music hits on a SmackDown or a Raw, one of the two. F5's John Cena again. Doesn't get on the mic, smiles, and walks away. That's it. And then they have a match. That's it. Nobody knows. There is none. But you thought that was bad? How about just randomly going AJ Styles, John Cena, Crown Jewel? And they try to I can't even use the word try. They made it look like there was a big demand for it on social media. You guys see that? Like AJ's like, oh, I don't know if that's going to ever happen. And John Cena's like, I don't know if the people want it. No, nobody wants it, John. Nobody cares. We like AJ. He's still a good wrestler. He's not in his prime, obviously. He's lost a couple steps, unfortunately. His booking the last several years has sucked. He's actually had a high winning percentage, but he's been in nothing relevant. And if you think I'm going to call this relevant, nah, think again. This is so random. John Cena's entire last year has been botched by Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He was so proud of himself, Helmsley, right? When he turned John heel. I had a hand in that. Did you see the show Unreal? I was a big part of that, turning him heel. Yeah, you exposed yourself for having no plan afterwards. You had nothing. One of the worst heel runs in memory, not recent, in memory. John Cena ended up being one of the worst heels this run. And aside from that, just a bunch of random matches. Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles. Who's next? Otis? You putting him in there with Otis? Is he going to have a match with Omos? Are you going to bring back... Who you want to bring back? Gilberg? Is he still... Gilberg. Is he still around? Anybody remember Gilberg? They'll probably bring back Goldberg, actually. What am I saying? No, John Cena wouldn't take on Goldberg. Goldberg probably dropped John Cena on his dome piece. John Cena's like, no, I got to go back to Hollywood. But Gilberg, John Cena would absolutely take on Gilberg. They just made this match AJ Styles, John Cena, and we're paying 3 times the amount, a lot of us, right? I know VPNs, and if you're in other countries, maybe you can get it on Netflix, but a lot of people, especially stateside, has to pay the 30 spot. Their cable provider isn't providing it or whatnot. A lot of fans have to pay triple the amount to watch a match they saw years ago when they were in their prime. And for what? So we can see a good wrestling match and yell, this is awesome? You bring a can of soup to the local bingo hall. They'll put on great wrestling matches for 5 hours every single day of the week, twice on Sunday. A lot of you guys have been waiting for my amplified thoughts on this. That's it. Did you think I'd be positive about? Do you think I was going to go, oh man, AJ and John, this is going to be amazing? This is the booking you can expect from this company. They're like, all right, we just came up with an event out of our ass, WrestlePalooza, to counter-program AEW and have this big party to kick off our relationship with ESPN. ESPN turns around and gives it a C, by the way. ESPN panned the event on their own streaming service. That's got to be a kick in the ass to Helmsley, huh? That's hilarious. But also sad. So they have that. They got the Saturday night's main events coming up, and they got Saudi, and they had no time for this event. So they're like, what if we just have all our champions face each other? What if we just come up with random matches? The crowd won't care because they'll be big names, so they'll go, hey, you know what? These are dream matches. And most of the audience hopefully won't realize that they've already seen a lot of them before. Styles and Cena. Cena coming off of this Brock Lesnar thing, getting annihilated by John Cena, and then just going into a random match with AJ Styles. Are you guys fathoming this? I don't want to go in circles because then I'm just dishing word salad, but as I am cutting this show and spitting these words to my unit, I'm trying to comprehend the stupidity that is being dished out by Hunter Hearst Helmsley and WWE, and I can't comprehend it. I can't digest it. It's like they're going out of their way to make fans turn away. It's like they're giving fans every reason under the sun not to watch these PLEs. Stephanie is telling everyone to go get a VPN. Helmsley is booking trash like this. And if ESPN thinks that they're going to benefit from being this honest with Helmsley and saying, hey, the show sucked, they don't know how petty Paul is. Because Paul Levesque is so damn petty, he's already getting his payday. They're already cashing checks. They'll put on an even worse show going forward. AJ Styles, John Cena, the whole crown jewel concept is pathetic. Let's find out who gets a ring, guys. Cody or Seth? Hey, let's watch a wrestling match. AJ and Cena. Hey, Tiffany versus Stephanie should be a banger, Blazely. Oh, I can't wait. Let me just take the $30 out of my wallet so I can see another banger. I don't want another banger. We're bangered out. We're done. I've been watching pro wrestling for decades. You think I care about epic pro wrestling matches just for the sake of pro wrestling? Do you know what pro wrestling is? It's larger than life characters, storylines that are top-notch, cliffhangers, moments, situations that have you on the edge of your seat. It's not just good wrestling matches. Oh, man. Let's go over to, let's move on. I told you it's going to be a jack-packed stack show, man. We still have more to go. Bryan Danielson. This is funny over on the AEW side of things, man. Bryan Danielson was the only one that didn't know he was headed to the commentary team over on Dynamite. Check this out. This is a quote from Bryan Danielson. Tony and I had talked about it, but I had no idea we were actually doing it. I got a text saying you're going to be at Dynamite Wednesday, right? I was like, huh? He then sent me the text of the post that Tony sent out. So this was a mass thing where Tony Khan told everybody Bryan Danielson returns this Wednesday. Dynamite commentary team. So that was sent over to Bryan Danielson. And he says, and I quote, I was like, well, okay then. End quote. Bryan Danielson said he was the last person to find out that he was going to the commentary team at Dynamite. Tony Khan told the world and forgot to tell Bryan Danielson. Listen, it's funny. It's also concerning. It is alarming because this is the same stuff that when this was happening with Vince and Kennedy, And still now with Helmsley, where talent a lot of times is the last to know about something, especially when it comes to releases, by the way, which is kind of sad. And that's going to be a lead into our story in a couple of minutes. But especially when it's releases and it breaks over the interweb machine, or their peers are telling them and they haven't even found out yet because the company didn't even inform them. So we have to keep that same energy with AEW, man. And Tony Khan has to take a breath, relax. He's got a lot of things going on. I think he's got like a soccer team, his dad in the Jaguars, and he has a big stake in the Jaguars, a big role with the Jaguars. He's got AEW and he does a lot of other things. But he has to remember, like, these are big decisions. You might want to tell Bryan Danielson that this is confirmed, this is what's happening, and I'm going to send out a press release, or I'm going to send out a tweet, or whatever. But Danielson's story is hilarious, man. He was like, other people had to tell him, hey, you're going to Dynamite, cool. And he's like, huh? Yeah, Tony just put this out. All right, then, I guess I am. I got to pack my bags. Going to Dynamite. And finally, another recently released WWE star speaking out on how they feel Hunter Hearst Helmsley handled the situation. On her release, Shotzi Blackheart says the following: I don't know why. I always thought that Hunter really believed in me. So it was a little disappointing. I just felt like, dang, they gave up on me. End quote. You think, Shotzi? Another one that bought into Helmsley's BS stew, and once he sells you on all of his pep talks and Papa H fluff, makes you feel like he's the daddy you never had, boom! You turn your back and he hits you with the proverbial sledgehammer. He's a used car salesman. Gives you what you want to hear, sells you on a bag of goods, but gives you a clunker to drive off in. And then you wonder, Shotzi, why so many, and I'm talking talents, that either worked for or with Helmsley, call him a fraud. And by the way, in case you're wondering, Shotzi is indeed one of just about all of the releases that have never received a call or text from Hunter Hearst Helmsley, even just saying thank you for all you did for the company. Not even an explanation or a real reason as to why. More than just, budget cuts. You would think your boss would just be like, thank you, right? Thanks for everything. But no, he tells you everything you want to hear to your face. And when you turn around, he has somebody else drop you like a bad habit. It's pathetic. All of these wrestlers that have been released, and there's been so many, they all have that one thing in common. They just want to know why, like what was the real reason? And when they're asked, well, wait a second, by whoever's interviewing them, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque McMahon never called you, never texted you, never told you why, never had just a quick conversation? And they all say, no, I wish. It would at least be some closure, they say. We don't know. We talked about Baron Corbin, right? Tom Peastock earlier. I tell this story all the time because he told it. He told Randy Orton he just wishes he knew why. Because his last talk with H, Paul Levesque McMahon was telling him he's doing good. You should be proud of yourself. Week later, he's cut. So Randy Orton, who's a good friend of Baron, he got pissed off. Randy was about to talk to H. Corbin had to tell Randy Orton, no, stop. No. Because even Randy Orton knows. That's not right, man. You sell a bag of goods, you tell all these people one thing, and then you axe them, and you don't even have the balls to give them a reason or to say thank you. So Shotzi says she is disappointed in the whole thing because in her words, this is a quote, I always thought that Hunter believed in me. Gee, why did she think that? Because that's what he tells these individuals. You said, well, BC, that's what a good boss will do, right? He's trying to pump everybody up, right? He's giving the hoorah speeches, BC. He's being the cheerleader that a good boss would be. Keep that same energy when you turn your back on him. When you tell them that they're losing their job, keep that same energy, man. We're just saying like a quick thank you, a quick little message. Hey, this is exactly right. Have the balls. You're the boss. Have the balls to say this is why I cut you, because he is. This isn't even with budget cuts. What that means, guys, is the TKO is telling you we need to cut this amount. It's up to Helmsley to tell them which talent he can do without. That's how it works. TKO just doesn't tell Helmsley, by the way, we're taking these wrestlers off the books. They're being cut. They're being released. Nick Khan doesn't go up to Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and go, we need to sit down, man. We're going to take Seth Rollins. He's making $3 million next year. That can't be. We're going to take Rollins. We're going to cut Braun Strowman, Shotzi, Baron Corbin. We're all going to cut them. Wait a second. 3 of them are having huge storylines coming up. Yeah, sorry, man. We got to take them off the books. That's not how it works. The company tells H, this is the amount we need to shred. And then they all have a meeting. Helmsley is the one who says, I need these people. These people cannot go. These people are totally expendable. So have the balls to tell them.